Hi, SkySun here from SkySunStudios.com, and today I'd like to do vid 4 in my EQ tutorial series, and I'd like to show you, let me hide this track here. I'd like to show you the different filters in action and let you hear what they can do. Let's see here. I've done some interesting routing here. Basically, I have a guitar track. I'm using an amp simulation plugin. It's called Revolver MK 3.5, and it's giving me some overdriven amp cabinet sounds, all that good stuff. And what I've done is I've routed the output of that into a guitar bus. I created a bus, named it guitar bus, and it's going into here. So when you look here, the guitar is going into this bus, and that's where I've put my processing here. Excuse me. I have a Studio One Pro EQ on it, and I've managed to use all 7 filters. So 7 different EQ filters are going on here all at the same time. I rarely use all 7 filters, but it's nice and colorful, and I figured I could show you how you can use multiple filters to get the sound that you're trying to achieve. Now, if you look at first glance, I'm not doing too much to this guitar. I prefer the guitar. That's my favorite instrument, and I like getting it to sound pretty much the way I want before it gets to an EQ, before it gets to a compressor. So there's a little boost here, a little cut there. There's a high pass filter to remove some rumble, and even a high shelving filter and a low pass filter here to turn down the highest frequencies, hiss or noise that might have gotten into the recording. But on the whole, if you look, I'm not doing much. I'm just cutting a little bit, boosting a little bit, and so what you're gonna hear is gonna be pretty similar to what got recorded and what's going through this revolver. So I'm going to turn this off. So all of those filters, I'll turn it all off, the whole EQ and all the filters in it. And now, I guess I'll go ahead and turn off the compressor as well. Now let me get another EQ, just so I don't mess up my settings on that EQ. Alright, so this EQ is off, this compressor is off, and basically I've just got a brand new EQ, and I'd like to show you, and hopefully I'd like you to hear what these different filters can do. Alright, so let's say I want to start with a high pass filter. I usually do start, this is like the first filter I put on something. I'll take it up to maybe, I don't know, 80, 90 hertz, maybe 100 depending on the guitar. And I'll try to find a place where it's removing some low end that I don't need, because the idea here is to make space for that bass guitar if you add a bass guitar into your song. Okay, so there's a high pass on. Now listen as I change the frequency. Just use your ears. You can use your eyes too, but it's good to listen. I'll go up, taking it higher and higher. This is higher than you'd usually go probably, but it can really affect the signal. I've actually basically turned down half of the frequencies here. These are all being turned down. Alright, so let me take the frequency knob down lower, and now you hear it have a little more volume, a little more power, a little more oomph. It's starting to sound more natural. Now it might be getting a little muddy because that AC hum, things like that. Alright, so there's a high pass filter. I'll set that at 90 hertz. And now how about let's choose a peaking filter here. What if we want some more, a little more something in the mid-range? This might make it sound honky. And that's a pretty big boost. Now what if I change the Q on this peaking filter? It's this yellow filter right here. You want to listen, I'll change the Q value. I'm going to make it a little bigger of a boost. Make it 6 dB of a boost. Alright, now I'm going to change. Okay, so the Q starts at 1. And now if I increase it, the Q value is being increased and the filter is becoming narrower. So as it circles back around, let's listen. Narrow Q. That sounds unnatural. Wider Q. Sounds a little more natural, but that is a big boost. Now that sounds nice and natural. It's got some healthy mid-range now with a little boost here. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. Now how about a high shelving filter? Let's do a little bit with shelving filter here. Bring it down. The guitar sounds further away. It's not as harsh. It's a little easier to listen to at louder volumes. What if I want it to sound closer? Now the guitar is closer to the listener. It's a little brighter. It's got a little more presence in the mix. And so that's kind of what these different filters can do to your recording. And I've done all of this with the Pro EQ in Studio One. And if we go back now to my other settings, I'll turn that EQ off, go back to my original settings, have a Pro EQ, got the high pass filter. I've got some more peaking filters that are cutting a little bit here and there, and I've got a peaking filter that's boosting up here for a little more bite, a little more presence, but then I have a shelving filter. This is a high shelving filter on top, and that's softening up the highs, and then I even have a low pass filter all the way up here to soften up the super highs, and then it's going through a compressor, evening out the dynamics a little bit, and there you have it. That's how I've treated my guitar. And I've recorded it into another bus over here so that I can, so that I'll be able to put it in the video so you can hear these EQ tweaks that I did, so you can hear those in the video. I hope you've been able to hear a little bit about how EQ filters can change your sound, and come back for more from SkySun.